There are so many of these free music making programs out there, and there's more and more coming out all the time. So I wanted to make this video on my top 3 picks for the best free DAWs for making music on Windows. And some people might be surprised with some of the ones I left off this list. I'll acknowledge some of those near the end of the video. And this video is sponsored by DistroKid. Get your music onto all of the major online streaming services like iTunes, Spotify, all of them. So many places. Plus, you'll keep 100% of the royalties with DistroKid. Now, the first free digital audio workstation on my list is Pro Tools Intro. This one gives you the same workflow and even some of the same core plugins that have been used on so many hit records. I've read and watched interviews with some producers, and they say they've thrown Reverb on there, which is a Pro Tools stock plugin. They've used the stock EQ and compressors and gates and all of these stock plugins that come with this free version of Pro Tools. So you get all of that, but if stock plugins aren't your thing, or if you just want to expand, the free version Pro Tools Intro allows you to add third-party plugins into there. And third-party plugins are other effects and instruments that other manufacturers create. So you can bring those in there. You're not stuck with whatever Pro Tools Intro comes with. One thing to note though is that Pro Tools uses AAX plugins, and that's a plugin type. You've probably heard of VST, VST3, and maybe some others. Well, AAX is similar to that, but only Pro Tools uses it. So when you're searching for plugins, be sure to make sure it has an AAX version. Now let's look at some of the negatives to the free Pro Tools Intro, and we'll start with the big one, and that's track limitations. With Pro Tools Intro, you can have 8 audio tracks, 8 instrument tracks, 8 MIDI tracks, and 4 aux tracks. So there's your big limitations right there with Pro Tools Intro. However, this is still plenty. If you're just making some basic rock songs, basic pop, hip hop, country, or whatever, you could probably get by with these track limitations. Now, another limitation is you can only record up to 4 tracks at the same time. So if you're a drummer with a 8 microphone setup, you're only going to be able to record 4 of those at the same time. So that could be something that isn't going to work for you. Now, another negative, or something that I've seen people complain about quite a bit with Pro Tools, is the user interface. It's fairly basic. It's not overly modern looking, although they've kind of changed the color scheme a little bit and made it look a little more modern. However, if you're like me and you just like a nice clean workspace and you find some inspiration in a clean workspace, then Pro Tools might work for you. If you want to get into the world of Pro Tools and create music in the same digital environment that the pros are using, then Pro Tools Intro is a great gateway for that. Another free DAW that I highly recommend is Traction Waveform Free. This one doesn't have any track limitations or anything like that. It's a full functioning digital audio workstation. You can have unlimited tracks, bring in third-party plugins, and it even comes with some decent plugins as well. I've used Waveform for a number of years now, and I really enjoy it. Every time I'm in there, there's nothing that I come across where I'm like, oh, I wish it had this, or I'm missing this. It has everything that I've needed to make music in there. Now, there is a pro version of Waveform that costs money, and the free one doesn't have all the same instruments and effects that come with that pro one. But not having those types of things aren't going to hinder your music creation. And a cool thing about Waveform is that it allows you to add these little bundles. So if there's only a small thing that you want from Waveform Pro, just a small feature or instrument or something like that, you can just add that. And that way you don't have to pay the full price for Waveform Pro when you're only going to be using this small little thing. So that's kind of cool right there. What are some of the negatives to Traction Waveform Free? Before I get into that, I just want to say the music that you create in all of these free programs, it's yours. You own the rights to it, which means you can release your music and make money from it. And a great way to do that is through DistroKid. They make the upload process super easy, and you can get your music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music social media platforms, and pretty much everywhere where people are listening to music, and you can make money off every time somebody listens to your track. And when you make that money, DistroKid is going to give you 100% of those royalties, so they're not keeping anything. They even have this very easy to use app that you can get on your phone. You can upload your music right from the app. You can check on how many spins and plays you have on certain platforms. You can check on how much money you have in your bank from all of your royalties. And then when it's time for you to get that money into your account, you can easily just withdraw it right from there. You could actually run a whole record company just from the app on your phone. It's really cool. A DistroKid membership starts at around $20, but if you use the link down in the description, you're going to save 7% off of that. So save some money and then make some money with your music and DistroKid. Now let's look at some of the negatives to Traction Waveform Free. The first thing is, like with any other program, is the user interface. Some people complain that they don't like the user interface. One of the cool things is you can easily change the color scheme. So if it's the colors you don't like, you want something else for inspiration, they have so many other colors that you can change, and there's even some presets in there. So don't think you're stuck with whatever the default color scheme is. Now, one thing that I find really annoying in Waveform Free, and this started in version 13, so people with the older versions of Waveform Free won't experience this, and that's when you do a playback, you'll start the playback and it's going to play, and then when you stop, in Waveform Free, it stops the playhead wherever you were at, and when you start play again, it's going to continue from that spot. In former versions of Waveform Free and in Waveform Pro, you can actually change that so when you start playback and then when you stop, it brings the playhead back to wherever you started from. And that's really nice for when you're wanting to focus on certain parts of a song. You can just play back that little part, press stop, make an adjustment, hit play again, and then it's going to play that little part wherever you had the playhead starting from. That's a personal preference of mine. Not a huge negative. You can still make music in Waveform Free, no problem. Now, the third free DAW that I highly recommend is UA's Luna. And this has actually become one of my favorite DAWs to work in. It's completely free. You can have unlimited audio, unlimited instrument tracks, plus unlimited buses. And you can also bring in your third-party plugins, just like other programs. Now with Luna, you must use VST3, so it doesn't use the older VST2, which is perfectly fine because pretty much every company has VST3 versions of their plugins now. Luna kind of looks and feels like a more modern Pro Tools. Apparently some of the Pro Tools developers left Avid and they started making Luna, so that's probably why it looks and feels this way. But what I've noticed is that they've tried to make things easier and quicker in Luna. Luna comes with a very cool instrument. It's called Shapes, and there's lots of sounds in there. It even comes with a free expansion to add even more sounds into it. Plus you get the built-in oxide tape saturation extension, and extensions in Luna are these built-in sections like tape and channel strip, and they can give Luna more of an analog workflow and sound. And it's very cool that they give you this oxide tape plugin. It's one that I actually own outside of Luna, and I use it often. It sounds great. So that's cool that you get those in here. There is something that's called the Luna Pro Bundle, and this doesn't unlock any core features or anything, but it does add some plugins into it, plus the built-in channel strip and some more tape saturation extensions. There's also some analog summing stuff that's included in there. Again, that's for that analog sound. And if you're into that, you might want to purchase the Pro Bundle, but it doesn't really unlock any more features, just maybe some of those extensions. If you don't purchase that bundle, it's not going to hinder your music production or your workflow or anything like that. I don't own the Pro Bundle, and I've been very happy with Luna so far. So now let's have a look at some of the negatives of Luna. And first is that it really doesn't come with any core plugins other than that instrument, which is great, and the tape extension, which is also great. But your essentials like EQ, compression, reverb, and all that stuff you need to bring in, which is fine because most people use third-party plugins in their DAW anyway. The next thing here is that Luna has a very small development team. So you may notice some features that other DAWs have are missing in Luna. However, they've been implementing all that good stuff lately, so things are getting fewer and fewer in that missing category. At the time of recording this, I think the next big thing that people are really hoping for is ARA support for plugins like Melodyne. That's more of an advanced thing. If you're just getting into stuff like that, you're not even going to notice what Luna's missing because you're probably not going to get into that just yet. And by the time you get into it, they're probably going to have it implemented. Another negative that some people have is the installation of Luna. You have to install the UA Connect software, and then within that software, you can install Luna. It also helps you to keep Luna up to date after you install it. Personally, I didn't find it annoying or hard to use the UA Connect. Some people apparently have found it frustrating. So that could be a thing for you. I found Luna to be very quick and easy to record entire tracks and mix entire tracks in there, and they've sounded great. So I really enjoy Luna and I highly recommend it. Now, those are my 3 that I recommend. Why are there some that I've left off this list? And what are some that I might have left off this list? And the first one is Reaper. The reason why it's not on this list is because it's not free. So it didn't make this list. The next one that I know I'll hear about is Ardour. Now for Windows, which this video is all about, you have to compile the code for the program in order to use it for free. A lot of us don't want to get into compiling code. We just want to make music. So that's not on this list. Now, the third one on this list is Cakewalk by BandLab, which is an excellent program and one that I do highly recommend, but the reason why it's not on this list is because they're apparently phasing out the free version. So I think at the time of recording, it still is available for free, but it could be phased out at any time because they have released their 2 new DAWs, and they said once they release those, the free version is going to be gone. So you can check, see if it's there. If it is there, you might want to give it a try because it is an excellent program. And there's even more free digital audio workstations out there, but I just wanted to break this list down to my top 3 picks. Now, I mentioned how I really enjoy working with Luna. I've actually created a free mixing in Luna course, and you can check that out right here. It's right on YouTube, so you're not leaving YouTube. You can check out the course there. Lots of great stuff in there to help you get started in Luna. And if you like this video that you just watched, please give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. For Audio Tech TV, I'm Zane. Keep creating. Fist bump. Thumbs up.